I'm Tara. I'm sitting in my car, the refund receipt from the jewelry store in my hand, staring at the number on it. It's a symbolic moment, like getting a piece of myself back. Just a few months ago, my life was on a seemingly perfect track, but then everything fell apart. I used to be the practical one, the friend everyone could count on. I had a cozy apartment with plants that only died if I forgot to open the blinds for a week. Bills were on autopay, and I had a reliable car that started every morning, even in the coldest months. I'd built this stable life bit by bit, one spreadsheet at a time. I'd been with my boyfriend, Leo Reed, for 4 years and engaged for 6 months. Our anniversary was a special day, not just the day we started dating but also the day he proposed in an Italian restaurant. I remembered that night clearly, the flickering candles, the loud music, and his shaking hands as he got down on one knee. We'd made it our combined relationship and engagement anniversary. This year, I was determined to make it even more special. I booked the same Italian place, the same table by the window. The waiter, Jake, was an old college friend of mine. I texted him weeks in advance, and he replied with a thumbs up and 3 champagne emojis. I told Leo 3 weeks ahead, watched him add it to his calendar, and even got him a watch he'd been eyeing online. The morning of the anniversary, he kissed me goodbye at the door, his tie askew and his hair still damp from the shower. "See you at 7:30, Tara." "Can't wait," he said, tapping my nose. I watched him go, feeling happy and secure. But things started to go wrong that evening. I arrived at the restaurant at 7:20, and Jake had already set up the table with chilling champagne and a little vase of my favorite lilies. "You look great, Tara." "Leo's a lucky guy," he said. I smoothed my dress, feeling shy. As the minutes ticked by, 7:30 came and went, then 7:35, 7:45. I checked my phone constantly, but there were no new messages. At 7:48, I sent a text asking if traffic was bad. The message was delivered and read, but there was no response. I stared at the read indicator, hoping it would turn into a reply. At 8:10, I called him. 2 rings, then he declined. My stomach dropped. If he was driving, the call would have rung out. If he was in trouble, he wouldn't have declined. He chose to reject my call. Jake drifted over, looking concerned. "Everything okay? Do you want me to hold the table?" he asked softly. I swallowed the lump in my throat and said, "Yeah, just a little longer." By 8:45, I couldn't pretend anymore. I paid for the untouched champagne, thanked Jake, and walked out into the cold night. He hadn't texted me at all. On the drive home, every excuse I came up with sounded worse than the last. When I got home, the apartment was dark, and his car wasn't there. Inside, everything was as we'd left it that morning. His mug was in the sink, his hoodie was tossed over the back of the couch, and the little wrapped box with the watch was still on the dresser. As I stood in the bedroom, something inside me felt off. Leo always claimed he wasn't a tech person, but he was glued to his tablet. It was on the kitchen counter, plugged in, and it pinged as I walked past. I told myself not to look, that I trusted him. But then I remembered him declining my call and leaving me alone at the restaurant. I picked up the tablet. The notification was from an old messaging app he rarely used with me. A name I hadn't heard in a long time flashed on the screen: Iris Gray. My chest tightened. Iris was his ex from the yoga studio where he trained clients. He'd told me he'd cut off contact with her when we got engaged. I scrolled through the message thread, which went back 2 months. At first, the messages were harmless, but then the tone changed. There were compliments about how good he looked in new gym photos, jokes about our boring domestic life, and replies that were too eager and familiar. I scrolled to the top of that day's messages: "Our anniversary. Still good for tonight?" Iris had asked. "Yeah. Can't believe I get to see your new place finally," Leo replied. "I'll make it worth it," Iris said. And then Leo's words hit me like a punch: "I'll tell Tara I'm at Max's." She's obsessed with that anniversary date anyway. I just told you it's next week, remember? My hands went cold. He'd intentionally lied about the date so he could spend our anniversary with his ex. Further down, Iris said, "Almost there, babe. Traffic's wild. Start without me." The timestamp was 8:47 p.m. I realized I'd been standing in the kitchen for 10 minutes, the tablet heavy in my hands, my heart pounding in my ears. For years together, an engagement ring on my finger, wedding venues reserved, and deposits paid all for nothing. My fiancé, the man I thought was my forever, was at his ex-girlfriend's new condo on our special night. I didn't text him or call again. Something inside me went quiet, like the calm before a storm. I set the tablet down, walked to the desk, and opened my laptop. The lease had both our names, but I'd been paying most of the rent since he cut back his hours to focus on his yoga business. Our landlord liked me and had once said, "If you two ever split, Tara, I'm keeping you as the tenant. You're the one who pays on time." The wedding vendors, the venue, photographer, caterer, and DJ all had contracts in my email. My name was next to the billing contact, and my card was on file. Leo's name was only on the groom line. One by one, I sent cancellation requests to all the vendors. I knew most of the $8,000 in deposits were non-refundable, but I didn't care. I was willing to burn that money to avoid a future filled with lies. After that, I started packing. I didn't throw things around, I did it methodically. I packed his clothes, gadgets, and the ugly lamp he loved. I set aside his family heirlooms, like his grandfather's watch and the framed photo of him and his dad fishing, and wrapped them carefully in a box labeled with his last name. By 4 a.m. The living room was filled with boxes. His side of the closet was mostly empty, and my engagement pendant lay on the coffee table, glinting under the lamp. At 4:15, I heard his car pull into the driveway. The deadbolt clicked, and the door opened. He crept in, shoes in hand, his shirt rumpled and his hair flattened on one side, as if he'd been lying on someone else's pillow. He froze when he saw me sitting on the sofa, surrounded by boxes. For a split second, his face went blank, and then he put on a smirk. "Wow, what's this? You packing my stuff at 4 in the morning?" "A bit dramatic, Tara," he said. "Interesting time to get home from Max's," I replied. He didn't flinch at my sarcasm. We lost track of time. It was a guy's night. Max made margaritas. "Why are you acting like this?" he said, as if I was the unreasonable one. I stood up slowly. "That's weird, because according to your tablet, you weren't at Max's." His eyes flicked to the kitchen counter for a second. "What were you doing on my tablet?" "That's a violation, Tara," he snapped. "Seriously?" It pinged, and I saw the messages. "Iris says hi, by the way. She really appreciated you remembering that rooftop night," I said, my voice trembling with fury and humiliation. Color drained from his face and then rushed back in a blotchy mess. "It's not what you think," he said, running a hand through his hair. "Really? You lied about our anniversary date so you could spend the night with your ex. What do you think?" I asked. His expression hardened. "Oh my God, listen to yourself. You're freaking out because I went to see a friend. A friend you called babe and promised to make it worth her while? On our engagement anniversary?" I shot back. He rolled his eyes. "Wow, look at the tough girl, demanding to know where I was till 4 o'clock in the morning. You sound so controlling." "Not anymore," I said quietly. He frowned. "What's that supposed to mean?" I picked up the folder from the coffee table and held it out to him. He took it, confused, and started flipping through the pages. "There is no wedding. You canceled everything," he stammered. "What wedding, Leo? You can't marry someone you're cheating on," I said. He opened his mouth to make an excuse, but for the first time, I didn't feel the need to fix things. I just watched him as his world started to tilt. Sit down. We need to talk about what happens next, I said. He threw the folder onto the coffee table and said, "You're overreacting. You shouldn't have gone through my messages and cancelled everything without talking to me. You shouldn't have been at your ex's on our anniversary," I cut in. He flinched slightly and then said, "You know what? I'm going to my sister's, Stella. At least she won't act like a psycho over a misunderstanding." A misunderstanding? You told Iris our anniversary was next week so you could be with her. You called her babe. Which part is confusing you? I asked. He snatched up his car keys. "I'm not doing this right now. You're emotional. Sleep it off," he said and stormed out, slamming the door. The next morning, Stella called. "What did you do to Leo?" "He showed up at my place at 5 a.m. With a suitcase, saying you kicked him out and cancelled the wedding." "He's a mess," she said, her voice tight with accusation. "I didn't do anything to him. He did this to himself," I said calmly. "Come on, you know how he gets when he feels attacked. You should have just talked to him instead of pulling something this drastic." "He said you went crazy because he went to see a friend," she said. "He wasn't with a friend. He was with Iris, his ex, at her new place on our anniversary after lying to both of us," I replied. There was a long silence on the other end. "He said he was at a buddy's place," she managed. "He told me he was at Max's." "He's running out of names," I said. "I didn't know," she murmured. "Are you sure?" I read the messages on his tablet. "He's been talking to her for 2 months and planned this whole thing," I said. She exhaled roughly. "He said you violated his privacy." "I probably wouldn't have picked up his tablet if he hadn't abandoned me on our anniversary," I replied. A few days later, Leo tried to talk to me about the wedding deposits. "I want half back. It's only fair. You cancelled everything without asking me," he said. "Half of the non-refundable deposits I paid with my card? While you were at your ex's condo?" I repeated slowly. For the last time, nothing happened. We just talked. "I needed closure," he huffed. I laughed. "At 4 o'clock in the morning? You needed closure so badly you forgot our anniversary? You're blowing this out of proportion." He snapped, "You know I've been stressed. I just needed someone to talk to. You should have reminded me about the date." "I did, 3 weeks ago when I booked the restaurant. I put it in your calendar, bought you a watch, and got my hair done. I sat alone while you rejected my call." "You're an adult, Leo," I said. He went quiet for a moment and then doubled down. "Well, I'm still entitled to half the deposits. You can't just waste money we saved together. That's financial abuse." I almost choked. "That's not financial abuse. That's consequences. I paid the deposits, and my name is on every receipt. You don't get severance pay for cheating on me." He then tried to play the homeless card. "I'm homeless because of you. Stella won't let Iris stay over, and Iris's roommate situation is complicated. Where am I supposed to go? To the woman whose condo you've been sneaking off to for months, or to your parents, or to a motel?" "But not here," I said. He hissed, "You're being cruel." "I'm being clear. No deposits, no access, no more second chances," I replied. He hung up on me, and 20 minutes later, I got a payment request for $4,000. I hit decline and blocked his account. On Friday, he made things worse. He posted a self-pitying paragraph on social media, saying that insecure women cancel weddings because they're threatened by platonic friendships. A friend sent me a screenshot. But then, our mutual friend, Ryan, who was there when Leo proposed, commented, "Wait, is this about Tara? Didn't you skip your anniversary dinner at the place where you proposed to hang with your ex that night, Leo?" The tone of the comments changed quickly. People started asking questions, and within an hour, the supportive comments dried up. Leo deleted the post, but the screenshots circulated in our group chats. That afternoon, I got a DM from an account I didn't recognize at first. It was Noah Hill, the owner and instructor of the yoga studio where Iris worked. He asked if Leo was with Iris on our anniversary. He said Leo had told him he was at a work event, but something felt off. I thought about protecting myself from more drama, but then I remembered Leo declining my call and Iris kissing him in broad daylight. Yes, he was there until at least 4 a.m. I typed. He asked if I could share what I saw or the messages. We agreed to meet at a coffee shop near the studio. Noah looked tired but composed when he walked in. "Thank you for coming." "I'm sorry you're in this," he said. "Me too, but we're both in it now," I replied. I showed him the photos of the tablet messages. He scrolled in silence, his jaw tightening. "You didn't show this to anyone else?" he asked. "Just Ryan, and only after Leo tried to paint me as controlling and insecure publicly," I said. He nodded. "Figures. He's the type to rewrite the story. I'm not out to destroy anyone. I just want to be done," I said. "Neither am I, but Iris and I co-own the studio. My family funded it, and I've noticed some strange things on our accounts," he said. I shivered. "What are you going to do?" He took a sip of his coffee. "Let's just say, cheating isn't the only thing they've been careless about. In my world, carelessness has a cost." As I walked home, I realized that losing $8,000 in deposits might not be the most expensive mistake Leo ever made. A few days later, Leo's ex-boyfriend, Mark, called on his behalf. He said Leo couldn't talk to me, and Iris was upset because I was holding her grandmother's vases hostage. I laughed. "They're in a labeled box in the garage. She can have them any time." He exhaled in relief. "Okay, great. So, you're not trying to punish her?" "I'm not punishing anyone. I'm just done," I said. But then he said Leo thought I was being vindictive and that I'd shown Iris's other girlfriend, Sophie, the messages. I didn't. Noah asked, and I answered, I replied calmly. His tone changed. "You spiteful jerk. You ruined my relationship." I closed my eyes. "I ruined your relationship. You invited my fiancé to your girlfriend's condo on our anniversary." He hung up on me. 2 hours later, Leo called again. "You told Mark's girlfriend." "You had no right," he barked. "I told the truth to someone who asked. Try it sometime." "She kicked him out, and now you're both homeless because you cheated," I said. He made a strangled noise. "Where am I supposed to go now?" "Not my problem," I said. He fell silent, finally realizing I meant it. The next morning, I woke up to a storm of messages. Iris had launched a crowdfunding campaign, claiming financial abuse, but it was quickly deleted after raising only $50 from her mom. Meanwhile, Noah wasn't quiet. He sent me a text saying, "Thank you for your honesty. Things are developing." 3 days later, the yoga studio's Instagram page posted a statement saying that Leo Reed was no longer associated with the studio due to misuse of resources, breach of contract, and unprofessional conduct. I heard through the grapevine that Leo had used the studio's credit card for hotel rooms and had been caught on security cameras with multiple women. Noah, who owned 60% of the business, bought Leo out for a pittance, and their supplement sponsors dropped him. Iris found out about the other women and lost it. She called me sobbing, saying she'd ruined everything for nothing. 1 week later, I ran into Stella at the grocery store. "How's everything? You okay?" she asked. "I'm fine. Actually, better," I said truthfully. She hesitated. "Leo moved back to our parents' place. Dad's got him helping around the workshop. He's different," humbled. I nodded. And Iris? She's back at her parents', working at her dad's hardware shop. She deleted all her accounts. I also learned that Noah's studio was booming. He'd added new instructors, and attendance was up 40%. A few days after that, I got a text from Leo. You probably won't reply, but I need to say this. I threw away 4 years for 2 months of attention from